Well, good day, everyone. Welcome to Andy 101. I'm here today back at the home of the Sydney Swans. So nice to meet you, Drew.
Andy, welcome. Great to have you here at our football club.
Thank you so much.
Home of the Sydney Swans, the Basil Sellers Richard Colless Centre in Moore Park, Sydney. The Sydney Swans Football Club was founded 150 years ago. 110 of those years were in Melbourne, as you know, Andy.
Yep.
And the last 40 years have been here in Sydney. We're incredibly proud to be the most supported club of any club or code in Australia. We have 2 million fans. And this is the place, as you know, you've been here many times, where we welcome members and fans from across Australia to experience this amazing space, but also to attend our home games just up the road. We're proud to display all of our premiership trophies. And two of the most proudest and recent results and wins was in 2005. That was a 72-year gap between our last win and this great win. And a key figure involved in bringing this to life, we're going to hear from very soon, Richard Colless. And our most recent title, just over a decade ago in 2012. One of the incredible privileges of being here in Sydney, being part of the biggest club in Australia, is our amazing member and fan base. And this is a home where people can come in and celebrate our history and immerse themselves in our museum and Hall of Fame.
So how many premierships have you guys won?
We've won 10 premierships, 10 titles during our time. As you'd appreciate, it's incredibly hard to do. There are 18 teams in the national competition. It's a very equalised competition. And so it's very challenging for us to make the finals and then win the title. But we're proud to say in the last 25 years, we've only missed the finals on a handful of occasions. So as we walk around our museum and Hall of Fame, this is a space we've completed in the last, only the last few months. There's a great space that's got a mix of physical and digital artifacts that people can come and enjoy. This is someone you know very well over here, a man who...
Yeah, I do.
Who it cannot be understated, the impact that he had on our great game in our football club, Richard Colless. Richard is you know Richard well, the longest tenured chairman of our football club. And simply put, we wouldn't be where we are today without the incredible work, leadership, tireless efforts of Richard from 1993 through to 2013 as our chairman. Richard's been amazing about bringing Chinese Australians into our great game. And he's one of the few people that can see the potential growth of this sport, not only within Australia, but beyond our borders as well.
Yeah, that's
I've got one more thing to show you if I can. While you're holding the modern football,
The modern one.
let's cast our eyes to the original ball.
Don't tell me it's that.
It absolutely is.
Don't tell me it's
The indigenous name for Australian rules football and the ball itself is called Man Grook. And the original ball was called Game Ball, was a possum skin ball. And this is a very almost identical replica to what the ball evolved to become a more durable ball, but in particular could go further distances.
Yeah.
One of the unique characteristics of our game, as you know, is that the grounds are roughly 180 metres long and 140 metres wide. It's a significant distance. And the average athlete in our team will cover 12 to 14 kilometres per game. So it's a game that requires great cardiovascular ability, but also strength as well. It's an interesting combination. And the game's played across 2 hours, approximately, 4 30-minute quarters. It's a game that requires stamina, strength, height. So it's a real mix of basketball, rugby, European soccer. It's a combination, and it's a game we love.
Yeah.
In the modern era, there's a giant of our game who's really brought our club to its stature and results that it's experienced today, and that's Richard Colless. Richard's a giant of this game, not only here in Sydney, but across this country. And simply put, we wouldn't have experienced our success, our growth, and our standing right now without Richard's tireless work. You know him well.
I do.
And you've got the opportunity to interview him again today.
Yes, I do. We'll see Richard Colless shortly and talk to him about, the upcoming ventures that he have. And I know that he's going to do another event this year. So we'll talk about that very soon.
Andy, great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Drew, for walking me around and talking about the great history of the Sydney Swans.
See you at the football.
Thank you.
Thank you.
G'day everyone, welcome to Andy 101. It's great to have a good friend, an old friend, Richard Colless, the chairman of the asset management division of MF Financial Group, and obviously the founder of Damu Friendship Through Sport, back on the show.
Great to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Richard. Let's talk a little bit about last year's event, which was amazing and successful, and you made a big name out there in the local communities between the Chinese community and the broader Australian community. So what were some of the highlights from last year?
Well, I think probably the highlight, the major highlight, was one that was almost invisible, and that was the amount of coverage that it received from China through some of the major television networks and print outlets, all facilitated by the Chinese embassy. I think people enjoy it because there is a real point of differentiation. It's light-hearted in part, but the objective is pretty serious, and that is enhanced friendship, continuing friendship between Chinese Australians and non-Chinese Australians.
Certainly contributed to the mutual understanding, and obviously through a sport. We've seen, the confidence levels, of the local Chinese Australians rising up, feeling more comfortable with what's happening around the nation.
Yeah, I think when we started talking about this, it was off the back of some research that we saw how disengaged the Chinese Australians felt in terms of the overall Australian community. The level of confidence that Chinese Australians had was at unprecedented low levels. And so this was an attempt to at least symbolically say, we are one country, one community. And one of the things that was that we sort of almost stumbled over the fact that the Chinese were absolutely basic to getting AFL going, AFL as it's now called, Australian football, when the first diaspora of Chinese came to Australia to mine for gold. And in the end, we convinced the AFL to fund a book called Celestial Footy, which was all about the history from, the mid to late 1850s to the modern era of the role that the Chinese have played.
No, correct, because I remember.
Yeah, and people are just staggered. It's amazing when you sort of start on a journey how doors that you didn't even know existed suddenly open for you.
No, it's great. It's great because I've been, speaking to you in the past few years on the show, and you talked about how the first Chinese people here in the country played AFL, and I was amazed at it. So this year marks your third year doing it. It's the third year of the Duawu Friendship Through Sport event. What's a point of difference this year?
Well, I think a point of difference probably every year is who the keynote speakers are. And this year we have the number one Australian citizen, and that is the Governor-General. Her Excellency Sam Mostyn speaking, and she was the first woman to go onto the AFL Commission, and she then joined the Swans Commission. So she's got a very strong connection with a lot of the issues that are on show. And we've got Senator Don Farrell, who is the Minister for Trade and Tourism, but was the key negotiator with the Chinese government. The ambassador who last year was caught up with when Premier Lee came out is back, and Jason Lee, who's the member for Strathfield. I think it's really good to have a Chinese Australian
Member of Parliament,
when the vast majority of the audience is Chinese Australian. But I think to have the Governor-General and have the Minister for Trade so soon after the election is a bit of a statement about the event. We're announcing this year the inaugural Chinese Australian of the Year award.
When is it held?
It's being held prior to the Sydney Swans Adelaide Crows game. It's 5:30 start on Friday the 31st. The staging of the event is actually on the day that Duawu falls, which is...
Oh, okay, so it's actually exactly on the day of the festival.
So it's a dinner before the Sydney Swans versus Adelaide Crows.
Are they a good team?
They're a very good team.
Okay.
They're getting better. I think there'll be a fair bit of resistance. So there's 400 people coming, significant number of them are Australian Chinese, government agencies, corporates.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed interviewing
Thanks
you.
for
and,
having me on the show.
Looking forward to this event coming up.